I started playing NBA Live Mobile in 2016, and I've also been playing NBA Infinite since its official launch earlier this year, so I thought it'd be really interesting to go ahead and put both games up side by side in a bunch of different categories. So I've got 11 categories where I'm going to be going through the good things, the bad things, and everything else in between with these games to see which one actually comes out on top. Of course, these are just my opinions. You guys will have your own opinions, which you can leave in the comments section down below, and you can rank them based off of the same categories which I am, or maybe different ones depending on what you can think of. But we'll kick things off with promos or events. In NBA Live Mobile, there are very regular promos, with some being weekly, monthly, every couple of days there is something to do, and there is more than one at a time. You usually have a main promo, then a side promo. You got monthly master and live pass, which run throughout the month. You've also got game time that is sort of like a 2-week, 3-week sort of event. So there is lots of stuff which you can do, and those promos are fairly rewarding for your time. They've of course got a bunch of different events, different players come along with that, and you do get some fairly good rewards with them. Getting a new master each time, grandmaster, some extra players, maybe just getting through and getting some coins or cash or different currencies. Every single promo is going to help you out in a different way. However, they can get slightly repetitive due to a lot of them being copy and paste, and sometimes you feel like you're playing the same drills again and again and again, especially me because I've been playing the game for such a long time. But it seems like now we are starting to get slightly newer promo structures, which is slightly good to see. It's still the same sort of drills and events you're playing through to get through them, but that's not that bad when you've got regular events to play through. On the flip side, NBA Infinite don't really have a lot of events. They generally have events which run for quite a long time, which can be good if the rewards were worthwhile, and in my opinion they aren't really. You take the legacy scoring event at the moment, it gets you some gold here and there, maybe some tickets, a basic activity pack, coaches, all of that stuff, but it isn't really rewarding for your time, as well as the challenges not being that challenging. You only have to get a certain amount of points, layups, dunks, all of that stuff. It's not that challenging, it's not that rewarding in what you're getting out of it, which means a lot of people don't even bother trying to play through it, and it leads the game to be quite dry because there isn't a lot of events to play through except for those gameplay modes. So this first category without a doubt has to go for NBA Live Mobile. Now on to the graphics, and sticking with NBA Infinite, you have some very clean and crisp graphics. Each player is really recognizable depending on who they are, and you can easily tell which player they are in the game. As you look at all the players, there's lots of detail on all of them, and they do look semi-realistic. And on the flip side, on NBA Live Mobile, there isn't a huge amount of detail when it comes to the players themselves. Some player builds are completely wrong. You look at Wembanyama, doesn't look like him at all. There are some other players in the game which don't look like themselves, which is a real shame to see, and there isn't a huge amount of detail when it comes to the players themselves. So of course for graphics, I'm going to have to give the win to NBA Infinite. Now when it comes to gameplay mechanics itself, if we take a look at NBA Live Mobile, you've got very smooth dribbling animations and dribble moves, and they're very easy to pull off. The players move up and down the court fairly quickly and fairly naturally. I believe a lot of the gameplay is based off of the console version of the game. Could be wrong about that, I have no insider knowledge. You can also go in for special types of shots such as a step back shot, a jelly layup, fancy dunk sometimes if the players have a dunk package. However, there is a lack of control when it comes to doing those certain dunks or doing certain layups. The jelly layups are a slight exception to that, and there is some inconsistency when it comes to shooting, whether you're being wide open or whether you're being contested. You can take some absolutely ridiculous shots in the game, which yes is fun, but it also ruins some of the mechanics when it comes to shooting, because you could make a ridiculous shot but then miss a wide open shot when you're balanced and you get a perfect release. But then on NBA Infinite, you have different players which have different moves, and each player has an exclusive move to them, such as Giannis's Eurostep dunk or Karl Anthony Towns gather dunk, and those are similar to what they could do in the actual NBA, which makes it really fun to go ahead and use that player. You've seen them say do a move in the NBA, you can then replicate that in NBA Infinite if that player has the move, compared to NBA Live Mobile where players just have a generic dunk package put on them, where yes, it makes them for some very fun dunks, but it's not, say, as controllable as NBA Infinite. However, the player movements can be seen as kind of sluggish and not really as natural as NBA Live Mobile, and alley-oops are a lot harder to pull off in NBA Infinite compared to NBA Live Mobile, where you literally just swipe between the drive button and of course the pass button if you're in a good spot. In NBA Infinite, the ankle breakers are a lot more realistic and actually have an effect on the player where they go dizzy and they can't do anything for a couple of seconds, whereas in NBA Live Mobile there isn't really an ankle breaker move or anything like that. yes, you can send players to the ground, but it isn't really as consistent as NBA Infinite. And of course, NBA Infinite, it does require your player to have some good dribble moves, whereas NBA Live Mobile, it doesn't really require that. In NBA Infinite as well, it's easier to set pick and rolls in specific places. And yes, you do miss some wide open shots, which I still don't understand a huge amount, but then you are punished for taking those bad shots. Whereas in NBA Live Mobile, you're less punished if you are taking those contested shots, because they still do have a decent chance of going in. So ultimately, for the gameplay mechanics, I'm going to have to give this one a draw. There's positive and negatives with both games, and I can't really pick a winner between the two. Sticking with gameplay, we'll head over to gameplay modes. And in NBA Live Mobile, you have Showdown, Seasons mode, and player versus player. In Showdown, it is very simple to go ahead and play. You're playing against the AI. Also in Showdown, you can match up against multi-year lineups, even if you're playing with a Season 8 lineup. Now, this is an issue that is really bad for the game, in my opinion, and I'd either prefer it to have no multi-year lineups in Showdown, or they would be separately matched with only Season 8 lineups coming up against Season 8 lineups and only multi-year ones coming up against multi-year lineups. I feel like Showdown isn't really as competitive with trying to grind up and get yourself a certain amount of fans on the leaderboard with the rewards it's giving out, and that's very similar with PvP as well, which is NBA Live Mobile's live gameplay, as it were, where you're playing against real people in the game, which is fairly fun to go ahead and test out. Again, the rewards aren't really there to get you to carry on playing. Season mode, it is fairly fun to go ahead and play against real teams in the game, but again, you're playing up against the AI, but it is a fairly decent mode to maybe do some challenges and stuff like that. On the flip side, on NBA Infinite, you have 1v1, 3v3, 5v5, which are all very competitive game modes, playing against people. You can easily see where you're ranked in the server and against your friends, and those ranks carry a little bit more weight than they do in NBA Live Mobile, which I feel makes it a lot more competitive. In NBA Live Mobile, the ranks on Showdown do reset weekly, whereas on NBA Infinite, they'll reset every single season, which is a lot better in my opinion, to make it more competitive. Each game mode does feel very different, and each game itself feels very different as well, because of course you're playing with real life opponents. However, NBA Infinite does lack that season mode, or being able to rank up playing against AI, or just simply coming up against real NBA teams. But ultimately, I'm going to have to give the win to NBA Infinite with this category. And sort of tying into those game modes is playing with your friends. In NBA Infinite, it's extremely easy to play against or with someone you know. All you need to do is just add them as a friend. You can team up in 3v3 ranked, a 1v1 dynasty game, or just a 1v1 game on its own. Or you can just go into a custom room and not have to play ranked at all, test out some new cards against them and all of that good stuff. You just need to be on the same server, and it's super intuitive in how you can go ahead and play with your friends, make things competitive and make things really fun. On the flip side, NBA Live Mobile is very painful to play against or with your friends. You can use Facebook, but both of you have to be on Facebook, and it's similar to how you can play people in the league, where it's just basically a showdown quarter and you're playing against the AI. You're not actually playing against them. Playing PvP is not guaranteed at all you will ever come up against them. You can just simply try and time it right so you play up against them so you can play them live, but it is very hit or miss. So this one without a doubt has to go to NBA Infinite, with the real ease of being able to play with and against your friends, which does add a lot more competition in the game. And when it comes to card collection, in every single promo of NBA Live Mobile, there are always new cards, new masters, and all of that good stuff. The artwork pretty much always looks really clean and really good, with some brand new designs on every promo. It's very easy to switch up your players within your lineup, and every couple of weeks or so you will be switching in and out those players, changing up your lineup and playing with different players. However, it does kind of lead cards to lose their value fairly quickly, because of course the overall ramps up throughout the season. However, in NBA Infinite, there are cards that are specific to different tiers. You have rare, epic, and of course legendary. We might get some more later on down the line. The only special cards we really have are those rookie players, the Steph, the KD, and LeBron James. The only way of getting new players is through the market and the hoop draft, so it is really hard to acquire those new cards and test out a bunch of cards as well. Yes, you can trial players, which is fairly good to test out, but ultimately it's a lot harder, and I'm going to have to give card collection to NBA Live Mobile. When it comes to players as well, NBA Live Mobile pretty much has every single player in the NBA itself, and also some past players. Now obviously both games will probably not have the rights to every single player such as Kobe or Michael Jordan, but they do have a good amount of licenses to use, and NBA Live Mobile utilizes that with every single player being in the game, as well as those past players, which make it really fun. On the flip side, NBA Infinite, there is a real lack of players when it comes to the game, especially new ones getting added to the game on a regular basis. One of the big players we got that was new to the game was Victor Wembanyama, but aside from that, there haven't been big releases of players and the constant updating of those players themselves, which is a real shame in my opinion. And if they did up that a little bit with getting new players, say weekly or fortnightly, I think that would really improve the game itself. So with the players section, I'm gonna have to go with NBA Live Mobile. But now onto the store and the packs you can actually get in the game. In NBA Infinite, I feel there's a lack of packs where there is a good exchange rate between what you're putting in and what you're receiving itself. There are no coin packs at all, and there's not really a lot of useful diamond packs. You can exchange diamond for coins and of course getting coach packs, but ultimately those aren't really going to help yourself a huge amount. The hoop draft does have a really cool pack opening animation, but it is tough to get tickets for the hoop draft and it doesn't get updated a huge amount with the players getting added to the base hoop drafts. Yes, some of them do have a change in who's headlining them, but some of them do just require IC to actually go ahead and open them. On the flip side, in NBA Live Mobile, you can open packs sometimes from completing events and of course in the store itself. You can open those store packs with coins, sometimes NBA cash. Of course, there are going to be those money offers, and there's lots of different ones ranging from bundles or just getting a little bit of extra currency to help with a promo. But it is not just all positives. We definitely need some more coin packs in the game and a lot more fun packs and variety of packs within the game itself. But ultimately, I'm going to have to give this one to NBA Live Mobile for the store and the packs. Now, when it comes to the market on NBA Live Mobile, it is very easy to buy players. All you have to do is search them up and you hit buy and you've got that card on your account. You can also bid on players as well to try and get them at a slightly lower price. However, because the auction house is run by bots, it is very hard to get players to sell. You could post up a huge amount of auctions, wait 4 hours or 8 hours or however long you put them up for, and not get a single one to sell. Promo players also don't go straight onto the auction house, and sometimes there is a very long waiting time before they even become auctionable. Promo filters also don't work half the time and they're not updated a lot, and it is a 10% tax with what you actually get after selling a player. But NBA Infinite does have that player to player market. It's very intuitive with how it works. If the demand of a player increases but the supply is low, that price will increase and vice versa. There's easy graphs to work out exactly the price fluctuations and track them over time. It's really easy to sell your players as well. You can choose exactly what price you want to put them at within a given range. However, it is harder to make a profit just solely off the market by buying and selling players due to that 15% tax. But because of all the other positives and the difficulty with trying to sell players on NBA Live Mobile, I'm going to have to give this one to NBA Infinite. Now, another big part of both games is the pay to win or free to play balance. And I'm giving this opinion as a no money spent player. I haven't spent any money on either of these games ever. So of course, if you spent money, you'll probably have slightly different opinions to me. But I believe in NBA Infinite, you can get by as a no money spent player by ranking up one player and using them in those ranked modes. However, it's harder to rank up good, higher overall players such as legendaries without spending that money or having multiple different options at really high ranks. And a lot of the packs in the store are exclusive for people who spend money, as well as the hoop draft with some of the tickets, and the odds of getting some good stuff is fairly low. There was a gold pack in the store a little while ago that had significantly low odds getting a good amount of gold for spending your IC. There's also the exclusive event we got with LeBron James, Steph, and of course KD. It also requires you to spend a lot of money in the game, and you can't really get anything as a free-to-play player. Whereas on NBA Live Mobile, most promos have stuff that is attainable, normally spent. Of course, some of them are pay to win with what you can actually go ahead and get, but you can get a very strong team without spending any money whatsoever. Players that do cost money, such as those guys in the Ultimate Store or the Live Pass, do come onto the auction house eventually, so you do have that option of trying to purchase them with coins, which you do need to try and build up, and you can get as a nominally spent player. A lot of the stuff in the store that costs money seems worthwhile. I don't know what it actually is because I don't really look at it a huge amount because I don't spend money myself. And one good thing on NBA Live Mobile is you are able to obtain their premium currency, which is NBA cash. You're able to save it up by completing objectives and then maybe spend it on a couple of packs here and there. Whereas on NBA Infinite, you can't get any IC whatsoever if you are nominally spent. I'm going to have to give this category to NBA Live Mobile because I feel it has a slightly better balance in the game between the pay to win players and of course the free to play players. Now the final category is the community and the devs relationship when it comes to the game. And in NBA Live Mobile, this used to be fairly decent. We used to get streams by the community manager Nick. We'd have a decent-ish amount of communication on the Discord server as well in terms of new promos and what to expect in the game. But recently that has really taken a hit, and in my opinion there isn't really any interaction or barely any between the devs or the community manager and the community itself. They do still have their official Discord server. There's no streams to get sneak peeks of promos and all of that stuff. No insight to what they're working on or what new features we can get, which is a real shame with the game. And that, I believe, is one of the reasons why it has significantly dropped in terms of popularity. They've also stopped their giveaways on their Discord server, and there is only one active member in their creator program, which is of course the Game Changer program, and that's Rising Phoenix 1, which is a bit of a shame to see because it does give that feeling of the community shrinking and shrinking, which it has done over all 8 seasons of the game, and it is a real shame to see. On the flip side, NBA Infinite do have the devs posting stuff on the Discord server. They have lots of mods on there, answer questions asked by the community themselves and pass that feedback on to the developers. There's in-depth patch notes and of course the buff and nerf notes, which are really in-depth on their Discord server and in the game itself. They have a decent amount of giveaways on the game. I don't think they give out a huge amount of rewards when it comes to the game though, and there is a very large creator program, which I'm probably biased on because of course I am a part of that. I feel having that does make the community a lot stronger and makes it more fun as well, and of course that's a little bit of bias because I've been part of their events and I myself have found them very fun to take part of. I hope you guys enjoy the content that comes out of those as well. So I'm definitely going to have to give this final category to NBA Infinite. So if we look at all of those categories, you can see it is actually a draw. It's 5-5 with all of those categories, one by each game. Of course, we had one draw, which was the gameplay mechanics. I still can't separate the 2 games on that one. There are some other categories which I could have maybe included in this one. I feel like I've covered most of the big ones when it comes to both games. Again, leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Which game do you think is better, NBA Live Mobile or NBA Infinite? In my opinion, if you combined NBA Live Mobile's schedule when it comes to releasing promos, events, the players, all of that stuff, you combine that with NBA Infinite's competitive gameplay modes and of course being able to play with your friends, you have pretty much an ultimate mobile basketball game. Maybe that's just my opinion, but I believe if you literally combine those 2 things, you've got a nearly perfect mobile basketball game that is really fun to go ahead and play. But that's just my thoughts and opinions. Again, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts. And I did mention some of the fun events I got to do with the Courtside Creator Program. One of those events was playing with Karl-Anthony Towns in the game itself, which was so much fun to go ahead and speak to him and then play some 3v3 games. If you want to go check out the full video, I'll leave it in the bottom left hand corner and I'll see you guys in that one. Peace.